Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm back at arguably Connecticut's most successful mall, and definitely one of the busiest malls I've ever been to. This is Westfarms Mall in West Hartford and Farmington, Connecticut. The last video I did at this mall was back in November of 2023, almost exactly 2 years ago, so I figured it was time for an update. Now come along with me and let's take a look around. Now this video was filmed on a Saturday shortly before Thanksgiving, which could account for some of the extra customers here because it is the start of the holiday shopping season. But that being said, pretty much every time I've been to this mall, it's been at least nearly this busy. So I think it's busy year-round. I don't think it's just because of the holidays. So now a little bit of history on the mall. It was developed by the Taubman Centers, and they still own the mall to this day. However, Taubman Centers was sold to Simon Property Group in 2020, so technically this could be considered a Simon Mall. That being said, the mall has not yet been rebranded as a Simon Mall, and it doesn't really feel like a Simon Mall to me. The original anchor stores were G. Fox, Sage Allen, and JCPenney, even though Wikipedia currently says that Steiger's was an original anchor store that later became JCPenney. I've checked this on multiple other websites, and I'm 99.9% sure that is incorrect. There was never a Steiger's here, and JCPenney has been here since the beginning. This is one of the mall's two iconic sculptures that have been here since opening day. That one's called Hope. It's by Bucky Schwartz, and to me it kind of looks like a person praying, but I'm not sure if that's what it's actually supposed to be. This is where the original anchor store G. Fox was located from 1974 until 1993. It became Filene's that same year, and then it became the Macy's in 2006. Westfarms, along with the now extinct Farmington Valley Mall, was one of my childhood malls. Growing up back in the late 70s and into the 80s, Westfarms was the only so-called super regional mall in this part of Connecticut, so a trip to Westfarms back then was a big deal, or at least it was to me. And when I think back to my times at the mall back then, the main things I remember were these sculptures and all of the water fountains. Sadly, the water fountains were removed back in 2002, but at least the sculptures are still here. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs, flea market videos, and who knows what else. And while you're at it, please check out my second YouTube channel, Flea Bitten Side Quests, and my Patreon account, which is also called Flea Bitten Adventures, and you can find that at patreon.com/FleaBittenAdventures. Thanks. If you're familiar with Stamford Town Center in Stamford, Connecticut, and the mall at Short Hills in New Jersey, you might recognize these ceilings. They look very similar to each other, and that's because all three malls were designed by the Taubman Centers. And yep, Santa's returned for the holiday season, along with his sleigh that kind of looks like a spaceship to me. It's the weirdest Santa sleigh I've ever seen before. I think they've been using that sleigh for at least 10 years or so. Straight ahead, this is where the original anchor store Sage Allen was located from 1974 until 1993. It became Filene's Men's and Home in 1995. And finally, Macy's Men's and Home in 2006. At this point, I've been to something like 130 different malls, and I don't think I've ever been to another one that had a Pizza Hut. Could be wrong, but I don't remember any other Pizza Huts. Another slightly unusual thing about this mall is that there is no food court. There are restaurants scattered around, as you can see, but yeah, there is no central food court here, and I think the reason for that is there's simply nowhere to put one. You would have to actually build a new part of the mall or remove some stores to actually fit a food court in here. Over the years, this mall has had a few renovations and expansions. The first expansion happened in 1982 when they added this wing to the mall and the Lord & Taylor that was at the end of the hallway. The Lord & Taylor opened in 1983. It closed in 2020 and was replaced by Jordan's Furniture in 2023. I did do a full walkthrough video of the Jordan's Furniture back on opening weekend in December of 2023, but very few people watched that video. So if you do want to see what Jordan's looks like from the inside, please check out that video, which I will link in the video description. Now, inside the Jordan's Furniture, they actually have a restaurant called Sally's A Pizza. When the Jordan's opened in 2023, this area here was completely empty except for this giant screen on the left. The Sally's did not open until February of this year in 2025. So this is actually my first time ever seeing the Sally's. Never eaten at a Sally's, but I can tell you it smelled really good. And I'm gonna walk into Jordan's really quickly, then turn around and get back to the mall. See that window up there on the second story? That is actually looking into the Jordan's Furniture. And we'll actually take a little bit closer look at that in a few minutes when we get up to the second floor. I didn't check back to my video from 2023 to see what new stores are here now, but this one on the right, I'm fairly certain that's new because I don't remember that at all. And there's probably a lot of other stores in here now that were not here in 2023, but there's just so many of them, it's really hard to keep track. I'm not sure what the mall's current occupancy percentage is, but I would say it's got to be in the high 90s because I think I only saw 3 vacant storefronts in the entire mall, which in my experience is a very low number of vacancies for a mall in 2025. This wing of the mall and the Nordstrom, which is at the far end, were built during the mall's second major expansion and renovation between 1995 and 1997. During that renovation, they also added the parking garages that we'll see when we do the drive around of the mall. Now, I believe that the elevator that's coming up here is the original elevator that used to be in Center Court. I'm not 100% sure, though, when they moved the elevator here. I don't know if it was in 97 or 2002 or 2008 or 2014. I'm really not sure, but I am fairly certain this was the original elevator from Center Court, which got replaced by the big glass elevators, I think in 2014. So it may have been moved here as recently as 2014. If anybody knows for sure, please let me know in the comments. And here is that elevator, which I believe is the original from 1974. You'll also probably notice, if you've seen my videos on the Stamford Town Center, that that elevator looks almost identical to the ones that are at Stamford Town Center. And I would guess they're probably the same make and model. So here's the Nordstrom, which was actually the first Nordstrom in New England. And it was the only Nordstroms in Connecticut until the one at the Sono Collection in South Norwalk, Connecticut opened back in 2019. I did do a walkthrough of the Nordstroms at South Shore Plaza in Braintree, Mass. back in 2023, and I posted that video just about a month ago. So if you want to see what a Nordstrom's looks like from the inside, check that out. We've got a Munson's chocolate here on the right. From what I understand, this was one of the original stores at the mall. I'm not sure when it moved to that location though, because I don't really remember it being there, but I could just have a faulty memory. Also, as a side note, I did do a video on the Munson's factory shop in Bolton, Connecticut back in the spring of 2025. So if you want to see that, check out my second channel, Flea Bitten Side Quests. Here's the mall's other iconic opening day sculpture. This one is called Alphabet Spire 6 and was designed by William Crutchfield. There are other similar sculptures by William Crutchfield scattered throughout the country. I think there's at least one other Alphabet Spire out there. And then he's got Punctuation Spire, and I guess a few others that are in the same genre. And then here's the mall's only remaining original anchor store, JCPenney, which has been here since 1974. And again, unlike what it says currently on Wikipedia, that was never a Steiger's. I don't know why it says that. I would like to update the Wikipedia, but I'm not sure how to do that. Alright, so now let's head on up to the second floor. And here, of course, is the upper level of the Jordans, and this used to also be one of the entrances to Lord & Taylor. In my last video on this mall from November of 2023, this area was actually closed off and you could not approach it. However, of course, when I came back a month later in December to do the walkthrough of the Jordans, this was, of course, open at that point. And then on the right, that is one of the very few vacant stores in this mall. Not sure what used to be in there.
If I drop it,
And then on the right, this is also, I believe, a vacant store. I can't really read what that says on the front there, but I think something is going to be going in there soon. So this center court was most recently renovated in 2014. Where the glass elevators are today on the right, those used to be escalators. And then the original elevator was straight across, pretty much right in front of where Tiffany is today. The area where Santa's sleigh is used to be sunken, and that was raised up in 2014. And also up until 2002, like I mentioned, there used to be a bunch of water fountains in that center court area. Alright, now let's hop across to the other side of Center Court where the Tiffany is today. The Tiffany was added during the 2008-2009 renovation of the mall, and I don't believe they added any new structures during that renovation, but they did add a lot of new stores, and included were the Tiffany's and the Louis Vuitton, and a lot of other high-end stores. And I think it was around that time that I remember feeling that the mall went from a mid-range mall for the most part to what I would consider a high-end mall. Definitely not the highest end mall I've been to, but it's up there. Alright, so here's another entrance to Jordan's, and this is the one that is directly above Sally's a Pizza. And this too used to be an entrance to Lord & Taylor. And that's the Sally's a Pizza. Now I'm going to jump over to the hallway to the left and continue out of the mall in that direction.
She claims that.
You know how this works. We don't hear.
Another one of my earliest memories from this mall was seeing The Empire Strikes Back in the theater in 1980. And the theater closed in, I think, either 84 or 85. And it used to be located approximately where this China Walk is or the California Pizza Kitchen is today. It's a little bit unclear, but it was in that general area. And there's also been a shoe repair place here on the right since the 70s. I don't know if it was always called Hacky, but it was definitely a shoe repair place. Now don't go anywhere yet. Next we're going to do a drive around the mall and see what it looks like from the outside. And first up, we've got the original anchor store, JCPenney, which again, despite what Wikipedia says, was never a Steiger's. Another indication that this mall is doing very well is that most of the parking lot was packed. I actually had trouble finding a parking spot. There is one section of the lot that is empty, but they're actually going to be turning that into a big Y, which I think is scheduled to open in 2027. And we'll take a look at that towards the end of the video. So this is the Macy's Men's and Home or Men's Furniture department. This was originally Sage Allen up until 1993, then became Filene's in 95, and then the Macy's in 2006. This is the Macy's Women's Department, which was originally the anchor store G. Fox up until 1993, became Filene's in 93, and then Macy's in 2006. And then this is where Lord & Taylor was from 1983 up until 2020. And then this, Jordan's Furniture, opened in 2023. All right, so now let's cut through the parking garage here, which I believe was built between 95 and 97. And then this is the Nordstrom, which was built in 97. And then from what I've read online, this solar farm here, these are all solar panels. I believe these were put up in 2019. Wrong way. So they are going to be opening a big Y here at the mall. I believe it's set to open in spring of 2027. And some people seem to think that it's actually going to be a part of the mall, like physically attached, but it is not. It's actually going to be out here, approximately to my right. I'll show you in a second where I think it's going to be. But this would make sense for the location of the big Y, because as you can see, this part of the parking lot is fairly empty, and this is the only part of the parking lot that is empty. So based on a news article I saw, I think the big Y is going to be where this grassy area is today. And again, out of the entire area, this makes the most sense. Just to give you a better idea of how packed this parking lot is, let's do a really quick drive around from a wider angle. This is the lot where I ended up parking, and it took me quite a while to find an open space. The only other mall in Connecticut that comes close to this as far as being this busy and having a parking lot this packed is Danbury Fair Mall in Danbury. And I'm really not sure which one is busier than the other, but Westfarms felt busier to me than the last time I was at Danbury Fair, but they are very close. And then here's a view of the mall from the street. And there you have it. That was Westfarms Mall in West Hartford and Farmington, Connecticut. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs and, of course, flea market videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.